Hello and welcome to part 3 of my fibromyalgia journey. So we stopped off where I was about to start a new life in the United States. And along with my suitcase, I was also carrying my pain. So I had a headache, costochondritis, I had a pain in my abdomen on the lower right side, I had floating pain, and I had some blackout sessions. When I got to the United States, I had a change of diet, change of environment, and it was a little less stressful in the beginning. And I could control my diet. I was able to give myself an exercise routine, and I was doing great. I was feeling great. I had a few moments where I would black out, but for me, it was not as intense as when I was in Belize. So I spent about 4 years in the United States, and I was able to get a hold on my diet, the things that I liked, the things that made me feel better for eating them, etc. A few months before I came home, I started having a pain in my my abdomen area, like the soft part, not in the rib cage, but like it would happen like about 2-3 hours after I eat. It would be the worst sharp stabbing pain like you could ever feel. It would keep me up at night. I started to get a little bit worried, but then it was time to come home. So I came home and then I joined our National Health Insurance Program, which is great, socialized healthcare. It works for us, and I was able to see different specialists. And the first guy, he ordered an ultrasound, saw nothing. They did a barium swallow, they saw nothing. They did a CT scan with and without contrast, they saw nothing. And then they did a colonoscopy, they saw nothing. So I decided to become a vegetarian, and when that happened, the pain left. I didn't feel it anymore. So I was like, okay, my body hates meat. So I started going on to my vegetarian diet more and more, and then I eliminated things slowly as I went along. So it wasn't like cold turkey vegetarian. I would stop eating beef, then pork, then chicken, fish, etc. And I went to the point where I was not even eating milk, cheese, or eggs. And people were like, oh, you look so thin, whatever, you look so skinny. But I felt so good. There was no pain in my body. There was no blackout sessions. My costochondritis was so minimal. That was the best I ever felt in my life. I got some work, and then I decided to go to school. I did so great in school, graduated summa cum laude. And then I said, okay, now I'm ready to do my master's degree. I said, okay, but before I do that, let me work for 1 year to get a feel if I really want to do this type of work, and then I will go. So I decided to work in the rice field for a year. It was great. I loved it. I had no issues. I controlled my diet. I lived by myself, and everything was good, wonderful. I had no complaints. It was like if none of this ever happened to me. I came to Taiwan. I did my master's degree. It was great. I had no issues. I remained a vegetarian. I met a great vegetarian family that I got close to, and we formed a very close relationship even to this day. So I went back to Belize after my master's degree, and I remained a vegetarian, and I continued to control my diet. I continued to control my exercise. I had none of these issues. My master's degree, great. I graduated, A+ transcript. So I was like, okay, now this is all behind me, and I was feeling good about it. After a year of being home, I decided to return to Taiwan to do a PhD. I came back and I started my PhD in Taipei City. Previously, when I did my master's degree, I was down south. Very rural, very beautiful, fresh air, good food, all of those. Now moving to Taipei, being vegetarian was next to impossible. If not for financial reasons, it was just like sloppy vegetarian food I found a lot of the places where I went to, and I wasn't like comfortable eating this kind of food. And then since you're living in a dorm, which was very beautiful, you're not allowed to cook inside your room. And you know, most vegetarians don't like sharing kitchens and pots and pans, and I was one of those ones that didn't like to do that. And I just tried to eat what I could find. So the first month I was like, I don't think I like the city life, but it will only be 4 or 5 years. I think I can tolerate it. First month went by, I was going through the adjustment period. Second month went by and I'm like, okay, I'm struggling a little bit. I don't like it, but it shouldn't take too long, right? Third month and my body starts breaking down. I got super tired. All of my symptoms came back except for the blacking out part. I found myself dragging myself out of bed. It was so difficult. So I decided, okay, maybe I need some vitamins. Started taking vitamins, started exercising a little bit more. I started eating a little cleaner, but I thought it was like the pollution, the smog, and you know, just the busyness of the city life that I wasn't used to. So I came to the point where I was like, you know what, this is too much. I am too tired, I am too achy, too painy, too sleepy. I can't even function, you know? This is not a good way to start a PhD. So I decided to go to the doctor, and from the time I went to the US to the time I started my PhD in Taiwan, most of that time I lived on my own, and I was able to rest when I was tired, eat when I was hungry, exercise when I wanted to. So all of this was in my control. When I went to the doctor and I told them how I was feeling, they were asking me all these questions about how are you eating, how are you sleeping, when did these symptoms first start. I let them know, and they did some blood tests, and I was sitting there and waiting for the results, because you just wait half an hour and you can go back to see the doctor, and you will get your test back, which is awesome. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what could be wrong with me? I hope this is not all happening all over again. I knew at that point it was because I was living the city life, and I don't like the city life. I had gone through so many mental pep talks with myself, saying, it's okay, you can do this, it's only going to be 5 years. Turns out it's more. It's only going to be 5 years, and you're going to be out of here. It's all right, just hang in there. They call my number, and I go back into the doctor's office. She looks, before I could even sit down in the chair, she goes, congratulations, you're pregnant. And then I was like, what? I wasn't expecting that. By no means it was like an immaculate conception, but you know, you're not like really thinking that this is going to happen to you. And I say, oh, okay, this is why I've been feeling like that. Wow. It was great news. And I just, you know, started crying like right there. And that brings me to the end of part 3 of my fibromyalgia journey. Thank you for listening. If you like hearing these stories and you would like to hear the final part 4 of my fibromyalgia journey, please subscribe. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you have your own story that you would like to tell, please let me know in the comments. I really want to hear from you. And however you got here, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for staying. And until then, live your best life.